Now, if your home was impacted by the wildfires, you can get your permitting and inspection fees deferred or even refunded.
And the LA County Board of Supervisors unanimously approved a motion to do that. And joining us now is Supervisor Kathryn Barger. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, tell us more about your motion. So this is going to help homeowners affected by the fires with permitting and inspection fees, which I understand can be up to $20,000 in some cases.
More.
Wow.
I've heard it go up to 50. So yeah, I mean, it depends on the square footage, but this is a huge relief. Rebuilding should not be cost prohibitive. And my constituents, we've lost over 7,400 structures, and it's important for us to provide all the resources we can. While this is a deferral, I'm confident we are going to be able to find the money to cover the cost associated with the cost of permitting. But it's important to do it now. And so for those that have submitted permits and have paid, they will get reimbursed. We're going to be moving through that process, and I'll have on my webpage when they can expect to see that money. But this is something that is a necessity and is, quite frankly, what we have to do.
And your office actually has been helping me and some fire survivors cut through some red tape for another process. And I think a lot of people are worried about how quickly they might be able to get their money back. Mm-hmm. So can you talk more about the process for refunding those fees if they've already been paid, and how soon people can, get that money back?
Well, the good news is there is really no process. If you've paid, we know who you are. And so my office is going to be working with the auditor controller to make sure that that is done. Hopefully within 30 days, but I have to figure out, this has not been done before. This is all new as it relates to how we are going about addressing the fire survivors and the needs of the community. And so I'm going to be very communicative on my webpage, and I will make sure that we let those that have already paid the fees know when to expect and what they're going to have to do. But at this point, we know who you are. So there should be no issue as it relates to having to submit an application saying we want to get reimbursed. It should be a no-brainer.
I'm sure that people are happy to hear that. So who is eligible for this? Of course, if it is the people getting refunds, as you said, you already know who those are. But for those who want the deferrals, can people apply for this?
It's for those that were in their home pre-fire. Obviously, we know that there have been lots that have been sold. They would not qualify. It's for individuals who were in their home, who lost their home, and who want to rebuild. And that's easy to verify, but you have to have lived in your home pre-fire.
Yes.
Okay, so on another note, we want to talk about ICE, which everybody seems to be talking about. So tell us what happened to one of your staff members' godson and why it's a concern.
It's a concern. My staff member's godson was leaving an establishment in Pasadena, drove onto a side street, a car lit up, no signage on the car. Two individuals got out. One stood on the passenger side. The other one approached his driver's side and asked him his surname. He gave it, and the comment back was, how can you have a car like this? It was a truck. To which he said, he was nervous. He said, I've got my license, my registration. And the gentleman told him to get out of the car, and he didn't want to get out of the car. The two individuals saw someone filming it on the side of the street. A woman evidently felt something wasn't right, started filming. They saw her. They immediately got back into the car and drove off. And my concern, and one of my colleagues conflated the two, you'd have to be deaf, dumb, and blind not to know that ICE is here. But my concern is that there may be imposters out there taking advantage of a community that is on edge as we speak. And that was what I was trying to highlight. My line of questioning was to our staff that run departments that are working with the immigrant population to make sure that we do everything we can to notify individuals about this possibility. So to conflate the two was totally inappropriate. I at no time said that this is, that ICE is not in LA County.
Okay, yeah, I think you're referring to that incident with Supervisor Janice Hahn saying that there's not people impersonating ICE, that this is ICE doing all of this. What evidence do you have, or what makes you believe that all of these operations are not being done by ICE?
I don't have any. That's my point. But I think that it's important. Supervisor Solis was a champion when there were individuals that were taking advantage, impersonating themselves as people that could, lawyers that could help people get through the process quickly. There are predators out there that take advantage of situations, especially when people are on pins and needles and people are living in the shadows. So I don't know whether this individual that pulled over my staff member's godson was ICE or not, but I find it interesting that they jumped in their car when they saw someone filming and took off. We don't know. We reported it to ICE. ICE is looking into it. They have not provided us with any information. But, you know, we have to be cognizant of the fact that right now there are people that are literally afraid to leave their home. And when they do, they should have confidence that they're not going to be taken advantage of, or that there's not going to be someone that is going to pick them up off the street and then they disappear. This is not the country that I recognize at this point, and I think it's important to use our voice to make sure that we provide all the protections for our residents.
And what if these are actual ICE agents in all of these incidents where you clearly feel in this case they weren't acting properly? What would you want to see happen next, or what would you do next?
So I asked county council about that because I need clarity, because I know that if you're pulled over by law enforcement, they have to identify themselves, they have a badge number, they wear a name badge. In these cases, I asked county council, and they said that in fact they do have to identify themselves as agents. Whether that's being done, I want them to follow up, and we need to communicate with ICE. They're obviously not providing us with any information. This is being done strictly on the federal side without any coordination with local government. But at the same time, if that is, and they're telling me it is required, then we have a right to make sure that they are living up to their obligations and duties, and quite frankly, protecting people's constitutional rights when they appear and start doing what they're doing throughout the entire county.
Absolutely. Well, I know you're looking into this. I know you've reported that incident to ICE. If you get any answers from them, please update us. Supervisor Barger, thank you for being with us this morning.
And troubling that she hasn't heard back from them yet.
Absolutely. Yeah.